Good evening. I hope you're all having a great Wednesday. It is Wednesday, the 12th of June, and as promised, I have come to do a little video for you all. Now, I just want to caveat this by saying I am in no way a lawyer. I am not legally trained. I am not got any sort of barrister training or anything. What I am is a fan. And what I have done is research, speaking to different people who are trained in this sort of area. They are financial experts. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about is just more factual, what is out there within the media, what is out, not within the media, what is out there within public domain for people to watch. And what I wanted to do is, the reason why I wanted to do this was to get the truth out there. Because what I hear about is a lot of the City versus UEFA case, the Court of Arbitration of Sport, was all let off because of time bad. That's all I hear. Time bad. City got off on a technicality. That's not factually true. And that's why I'm doing this. I understand some will say, nope, you shouldn't be doing this. You're not legally trained and everything else. Fully get that. I do have a little bee in my bonnet because people are saying wrong information. And I think the media have done a very poor job in explaining this whole situation out to people. So all this is today is factual. So none of this is opinion. It's factual. I have used sources such as the actual 93-page cast document. I'm not going to read the full 93-page document out. It took me 2 hours, 42 minutes to go through every page of that over the, not last night, the night before. And I'm not going to sit here and just do a Jack and Ori read 93 pages because some of it is legal jargon, which I do know, because some of it, I'm like I said, I'm not legally trained. I've got a degree in criminology, which is very different to being a lawyer. Totally respect that. So my expertise is more the criminal mind. Why criminals do what they do? Why do they choose to act in the way they act? What was the reasoning behind it? Things like that. The criminal psychological mind. Because my degree is criminology with sociology, BA honours. So that's why when it comes to the legal stuff, this is just purely research and having some business understanding through my father and other means and people as well that I have spoke to. I've looked at this since day one. Since day one, I've took a real interest into this. So all you're going to hear today is factual information. So what I've done is I've gone away and I've looked at Stefan Bordston. Don't know if anyone knows him. He's on TalkSport. Was the Manchester City finance guy for a little while, advisor. He's a Manchester City fan. So a lot of people then think that disqualifies him straight away due to having some sort of subjective view. There is no objectiveness within Stefan. Stefan has been nothing but objective from day one in all of this. That's why TalkSport and other people do have him in. He's been on some of the biggest podcasts going with the likes of Nick Harris and things like that, and Miguel Delaney, I believe. So I have reached out to Stefan. Would have loved to have had him on the show. I know he's a very, very busy man at the moment. He's always welcome here. But what I wanted to do was reach out to Stefan and could I use some of his screenshots from his tweets? Because he did a set of tweets last week, I believe, which were quite sort of explaining the whole cast situation and where this 115 lies. I'm not going to go delving into the 115 situation case because that will be dealt with when it's dealt with by the correct people who know far more than me or anyone else. But what people need to understand is where City were coming out of CAS. And this is all this video is about, purely about CAS. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by putting some screenshots up on the screen. What I would advise everyone, because I did try to magnify them, but it's very hard to magnify a screenshot away. So if you make your screens a lot bigger, because some of the writing is a bit small, I appreciate. What I'm going to do is put up this slide number 1, which was from Stefan Bodston. Well, it was from Stefan talking about this. So this was the core of City's 115 charges, and that it breached the fundamental reporting requirements around the submission of true and fair accounts here, E.3/4 from 2012 to 13. No finding that the 21 to 24 associate party was in fact unlawful. Unlawful would change that. So here you can see where it says Club Finance Governance section, E-Clubs Finance. You can, if you want, make that full screen, and if you can make it a bit bigger, it's also on SLBSN's Twitter page at SLBSN if you want to look at that. But I wanted to bring in, this is what the core of the City's 115 charges are. I really want to make that quite clear, which is why I brought that little clip up. Now, here is then the next one. This was in a response to somebody that he was reporting to, from the Times, that it has been alleged that the City concealed payments made by their owner, Sheikh Mansour, through third parties and disguised them as sponsorship revenue, which in itself was inflated. We're going to come back to that. So just hold on to that line. It has been alleged that the City's concealed payments made by their owner, Sheikh Mansour, through third parties and disguised them as sponsorship revenue, which in itself was inflated. No, it wasn't. We will come back to that. Even before the more recent moves by the Premier League to tighten the regulation around APTs, there was a requirement under the law's rules that related party transactions must be a fair market value. If such rules are now deemed unlawful, it could significantly strengthen the City's defence at the hearing later this year. City denied any wrongdoing. As you can see, Stefan did say, I don't see this at all. City never challenged the FMV rule, nor is that the allegation described here, or the charges, or even by UEFA in the 2019 CAS case. Spot on with Stefan. So the completely new superseding associated party rules will have no bearing on the 115, even indirectly. I wanted to start with that just to make a big point, because this week and last week, we know the arbitration has started. By the way, it's in a hotel. All is BS. They're not even in court. They're in a hotel room. That's how informal this is. Because again, it's arbitration. So this bearing this week, it's related to the 115. No, it's not. Again, that's clickbait media stuff, YouTube sort of thing, trying to get some clicks and views and everything else, putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 105. Not even 115, they're coming up with 105. Next one. This actually has come from Swiss Ramble. I don't know if anyone follows Swiss Ramble. Absolutely amazing account over on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Really good. Well summarized by actually City fan Swiss Ramble. Auditors, if City's books are shown to be inaccurate, then their auditors would have an awful lot to answer for. City's auditors are not infallible. We have seen with numerous companies over the years, such as Emron, and what I'm going to do, actually, bear with me, I'm going to bring up that exact tweet because I'm struggling to read it, which is not fair on you guys, and I don't want to do that because that's really not fair on you guys. So what I want to do is I want to actually read it out word for word by Swiss Ramble, because I do think this is where we're going to come to moving on into this, because for me, there's a lot been said, a lot of wrong things been said, and what I want to give you, as I promised you at the beginning, is factual information. So, this, as I said, came from Swiss Ramble. I'm just going to get it up for you now because there's a lot of crap being said, which is slightly wrong and slightly should not have been said. I found that one. There we go. This is how far I've gone all the way back. I've been looking. People think I've been stalking Stefan recently. I haven't. I promise you, I really haven't. What I've just been doing is some proper research. Here we go. So City's books are shown to be accurate. Then their auditors would have an awful lot to answer for. Clearly, auditors are not infallible, as we have seen with numerous companies over the years, such as Enron. But football club accounts should be relatively straightforward to audit, you would think. One of the principal responsibilities of the club's auditors is to state whether the accounts give a true and fair view, which they have done throughout the period under review. As per the example from City's 21-22 annual report, this is now an opinion. In our opinion, the financial statements give a true and fair view of the state of the company's affairs as at 30th of June 2022 and of its profits for the year that ended, have been properly prepared in accordance with United Kingdom generally accepted accounting practice, and have been prepared in accordance with the requirements of the Companies Act 2006. The point was specifically made by CAS in their judgment in 2020 when they argued that it was likely that the auditors had been misled to the extent claimed by unlikely. Sorry, I will read that again. This point was specifically made by CAS in their judgment in 2020 when they argued that it was unlikely that the auditors had been misled to the extent claimed by UEFA. UEFA's theory would also mean that that not only did Manchester City Football Club lie to the FA and UEFA, but also their accountancy firms such as BDO, Deloitte, Ernst and Young, and Alex Partners, that all examined accounts. My glasses need changing. Examined accounts of one or more entities involved were all misled. The panel finds that such allegations are also not warranted based on the evidence presented. So again, a massive point into that one. What I've just read you is exactly what is on your screen right now. So again, something else that's been made out by a lot of people, that City have basically been accused of misleading and perjuring and lying to Deloitte and all these other massive partners, which is a load of guff, as you can see. So that was slide number 3. We then moved to slide number 4. It is interesting that a few railed the points in this post about City's audited accounts, which actually were uncontroversial if understood. To be clear, the allegations made by UEFA historically in the Premier League now were quite specifically that the audited accounts and were false. The words audited are mentioned more than 20 times in the CAS decision alone. UEFA and CAS, paragraph 110 or 110. The issues raised in the appeal decisions relate primarily to the audited financial statements submitted by Manchester City Football Club to the FA as the national licensor and to break-even information submitted to UEFA between 2012-2016 concerning the sponsorship contributions derived by City from Etisalat and Etihad. Yeah. And then it goes on. The issues raised, so we've done that one. The Premier League, Manchester City breached in respect to each season's 9-10 to 17-18 inclusive the Premier League rules that require provision by a member club to the Premier League in the utmost good faith of accurate financial information that gives a true and fair value of the club's financial position. The accounts are only false if the auditors, remember the last slide, the auditors were negligent. There is no way given to UEFA investigation from 12 to 14, UEFA investigation in 2018, and the UEFA findings in 2019, the CAS hearing in 2020, and the Premier League investigation and charges from 2018 to 2024. The idea that many direct questions about these matters in those, I've put them up, I'm just making sure I'm going word for word. I'm just making sure I've got it up. CAS hearing in 2020. The idea that many direct questions about those matters in those same accounts have not been specifically put to MCFC in multiple audited process is implausible. there is simply no possibility the accounts were simply waved through. Basically, they will have gone through this with a fine-tooth comb. Absolutely gone through all of our accounts with a fine-tooth comb. These are not Bill and Ben, the flower pot men down the road, auditing City's accounts and looking through them. Shouting about Enron, Wirecard, or any of the other good global accounting scandals is not a good counter. Indeed, that is the point. So you can't say you've done this. Well, we've got other evidence, other companies. No, separate entities. If the bar from the Premier League is proving a fraud of the scale of those in an independent commission, that is very, very high hurdle. Not impossible, of course, but a massive challenge. So this is what the Premier League will do with the 115, because don't forget, the reason why I'm mentioning the 115, this is a continuation from the Cass case. P.S. This is not about the auditors defending their work at the independent commission. The auditors are very unlikely to be giving evidence. So there you go. Right, let me get to this next part. P.S. This is not about, we've done that one. Sorry, so we've done, oh, no, that's the other one we've done. I will come back to that in a minute because I have got Cass case information as well. Here we go. This was the next part I wanted. To win versus the Premier League. The Premier League was from 30th of May 2024. The Premier League will need to prove that the systematic breaches alleged were at best missed or ignored by Manchester City's own directors and its auditors, BDO, for more than a decade. At worst, the Premier League will need to, and then it is on there, which I will then also go through for you lovely people. I'm just going to get them up now. Where is it? Here we go. Because I want to make sure, again, I've got everything correct and to the point. What I couldn't do was get it from A to B to C that easy, because I'm not that computer literate, if I'm honest with you. I'm not going to lie. Me and technology are not always best of friends, but I will get to it. I'm just going to get to it now. Here we go. 6 to the 7. I've got it. Here we go. So, the statement of director responsibilities. The directors are responsible for preparing the director's report and the financial statements in accordance with applicable law and regulations. Company law requires the directors to prepare financial statements for each financial year. Under the law, the directors are elected to prepare the financial statements in accordance with the United Kingdom generally accepted accounting practices, UK accounting standards, and applicable law. Under company law, the directors must not approve the financial statements unless they are satisfied that they give a true and a fair view of the state of affairs of the company and of the profit or loss of the company for that period. In preparing these financial statements, directors are required to select suitable accounting policies and apply them consistently, make judgments and accounting estimates that are reasonable and prudent, state whether UK accounting standards have been followed, subject to any material departures disclosed and explained in the financial statements, and prepare the financial statements on the going concern unless it is inappropriate to presume that the company will continue in business. This will all follow that financial statements do comply with Companies Act 2006. They're also responsible for safeguarding the assets of the company, hence for taking reasonable steps for the prevention and detection of fraud and other irregularities. This is what the auditor's responsibilities are. Of all the current directors have taken all the steps that they ought to have taken to make themselves aware of the information needed by the company's auditors for the purposes of their audit and to establish that their audits are aware of that information. The directors are not aware of any relevant audit information of which the auditors are aware. The auditor BDO LLP is deemed to be reappointed under Section 487, Paragraph 2 of the Companies Act 1985, which continues in force the Companies Act 2006. That is by J. Macbeth, Director, 10th of October 2023. And that is from Manchester City's annual report 2022-2023. So there you go. That was a little bit of that. So I hope you're all keeping up. I'm trying to blast through some of these. That's what I've just read out in front of you. The Premier League's biggest challenge is proving the City Etihad conspiracy. Exactly. Key that word, conspiracy. I've previously outlined lied and potentially committed perjury. A few people have watched the equivalent of a one-sided highlights package and now concluded that the Premier League case versus City is a slam dunk, which is why I'm doing this. I'm explaining what happened at CAS and also where it protrudes within the 115. The reality is we are piecing together all aspects of the case from limited public information, so we can only make observations. Proclaiming inevitability in any legal case is a mug's game. This is again direct quotes from Stefan Borston. But one area where the CAS decision offers directly relevant appraisals of the evidence in support of City's defence is in respect to witness evidence and the absolute unequivocal denials heard or received in writing there. It is a bold step for any court or other tribunal to find these witnesses are not credible or at worst outright liars. Yeah. There you go. This is particularly so when professionals with their reputations and careers are at stake. In this case, for the Premier League to win, it seems it will need to prove to the satisfaction of the independent commission that a number of executives are being at best economical with the truth and at worst criminally liable. At CAS, City's witnesses do not appear to have qualified their answers or given any ambiguous responses. Each witness appears to have been unequivocal. CAS noted on paragraph 254 of finding that Etihad sponge conduit were funded or procured to be funded by Sheikh Mansour. Oh, where is it? Here it is. Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan. Sorry, I've just butchered that name. And or ADUG, which would require a conclusion that the evidence of several high-ranking officials of large international commercial enterprises such as Mr. James Hogan, former president and CEO of Etihad, Mr. Simon Pearce, non-executive director, Manchester City Football Club, non-executive, Alan, if you're listening, Mr. Armin Ali Saig, board member of Etihad Aviation Group and chairman of the board, finance and investment committee, and then Mr. Henning Zohasson, general counsel and company secretary of Etihad, and of course, Mr. Tony Douglas, Group Chief Exec Officer of Etihad, were false, and that at least Mr. Hogan, if not Mr. Pearce, will be subject to criminal sanctions. The conclusion is not very warranted based on the evidence available to the panel. That is what CAS said. That was from CAS. That's not Stefan's opinion. That is from CAS. So, yeah, I'm just going to find where we're up to next. I've just done that one. And make sure I'm just caught up to date, that's all. Right, here we go with this one. Mr. Simon Pearce, non-executive director. Now that ADUG nor H8SM funded any of Etihad sponsor obligations, it seems very unlikely to me I would have been informed in this if they did. And there is the testimony, which I will put up on screen in a minute when I go through the CAS pages from Simon Pearce himself. We'll come into the end of the slides in a minute, and then we'll get on to the CAS situation. Again, just testimony from Mr. Pearce himself. They're just quotes from the CAS case. All of this is from the CAS case that I've found and researched. Mr. Hogan was the same. Mr. James Hogan, former president and CEO of Etihad. As you can see, the Wikipedia is there on Mr. James Hogan. Talking about sponsorship obligations were paid out of Etihad's own funds and described. Talking about how not any entity thereby was funded or reimbursed sponsorship at all. So someone from Etihad, again, I'm just going to make that point. That is Mr. James Hogan, former president and CEO of Etihad. So saying that they've never backfunded anything. But again, this is what City have been accused of by YouTubers, people in the media, and everything else. Again, there's some more. I mean, honestly, this is all on Stefan Boldstone's Twitter. If anyone wants to go ahead and talk about this, these are all quotes from the CAS case. There is Mr. Henning Zurhausen, the General Counsel and Company Secretary of Etihad Aviation Group, was fully and properly negotiated and executed on an arm's length basis and duly approved by the company's board of directors. Again, it's all down there. And again, this is from the CAS case itself. Mr. Ahmed Ali Singh, board member of Etihad himself, which is down there. Again, more witness testimony from the CAS case, which we can go into. Sheikh Mansour also did. I can confirm that I have not authorised Abu Dhabi United Group, who were the owners of City, to make any payments to Etihad, Etisalat, or any of their affiliation, relation, sponsorship, nor have I authorised or arranged or anyone else to make such payment to them. I can also confirm that I have not made any such payments myself. Now, this was Mr. Tony Douglas, then Chief Group Executive Officer of Etihad, now CEO of Riyadh Air, a Saudi public investment fund subsidiary. Intriguing. Mr. Douglas, in writing, confirmed that Mr. Zurhausen's letter was entirely correct and stated again unequivocally for the avoidance of doubt. I also confirm that the sources available in the company have never included, whether directly or indirectly, ADUG, HHSM, or any person of entity controlled or influenced by them. I confirm for the avoidance of doubt that the company has never received any money whatsoever from ADUG or any person or entity controlled by or influenced by that company, directly or indirectly. What would the Premier League need to prove in respect to the witness evidence? They would need to appear to have shown that at least a majority of these high-ranking professionals who are existing and former executives of the wider Etihad Group, as well as other key global executives, are lying, confused, misinformed, using careful language, or otherwise misleading first CAS and now the Independent Commission. As CAS said in paragraph 255, it would also mean that the historic, not only Manchester City lied to the FA and UEFA, but also the accountancy firms such as BDO, Deloitte, Ernst & Young's, Alex Partners, that all examined accounts on one or more entities were all misled or involved in the conspiracy theory that was cleared out earlier on that we talked about. Now, that is just probably where some of this information has come from, obviously the Daily Mail, Stephen Borson's Substack, the Daily Mail itself, and from YouTube, other interviews as well. And just Stefan there talking about how serious that situation is for Manchester City if I'm guilty of the 115. Now, we're talking about CAS like we always have. Here you can say, oh, that's me, I've got him in the wrong order. There is the Arbitral Award Court, Arbitration of Sport, Manchester City Football Club, etc., all involved in this. Now, the Court of Arbitration of Sport is the highest court in the land you can go to for this. And I'm just going to get the correct information up because I want to come to the accounting evidence. I want to come to the actual, that was the witness. See there, the witness evidence. That is basically what I've just read out from Stefan Borston's Twitter account, where he had snippets of all this. You can see there the witness evidence that was from all of those lovely people that I have just read out in front of you earlier on within the snippets. What I'm going to come to is the conclusion of this, which I'm going to just find. Here we go. Again, you can always pause this and enlarge it. I do apologize. I will make my computer skills a lot better. I promise you, ladies and gents. And thank you so much for your patience so far. Conclusion. In view of all the above, there is no doubt that Etihad fully complied with its payments and obligations toward Manchester City Football Club, and that Manchester City Football Club rendered the contractual agreed services to Etihad in return. The majority of the panel finds that the Etihad sponsorship agreements are presumed to be negotiated at fair value, and that Manchester City Football Club, HHSM, and ADUG, Abu Dhabi United Group, and Etihad are considered not NOT to be related parties. The Etihad sponsorship agreements were legally binding contracts, and there is no evidence that the agreements were backdated are that Manchester City Football Club otherwise retrospectively tried to cover up any alleged violations following the publication of leaked emails. The leaked emails discuss an arrangement whereby Etihad sponsorship contributions would be funded or procured funded by HHSM and or ADUG. The participation of HHSM and ADUG and Etihad is a prerequisite for the arrangement to be executed, but such participation has never been established. Mr. Pearce may have tried to implement the arrangements discussed in the leaked email, but in the view of the majority of the panel, there is no evidence on file establishing that he actually went ahead or succeeded in any attempt. So that is the actual conclusion of CAS and what it actually went through here. And where's this part? Here we go here. So the leaked emails discuss an arrangement whereby the Etihad sponsorship contribution will be funded. So we've just done that one. Based on the evidence in front of it, in particular, the witness statements, which again, Stefan Borsanite showed you earlier on. Based on the evidence in front of it, in particular, the witness statements, which again, the panel notes were not before the adjudicatory chamber. The letters issued by Etihad executives and the accounting evidence provided by Cita or Manchester City Football Club. My apologies. Let's make this formal. The majority of the panel is not comfortably satisfied that the arrangements to the leaked emails were in fact ever executed. That there is not sufficient evidence on file to establish the arrangements actually made between CETA, HHSM and ADUG, or between HSM, ADUG and Etihad, or that HHSM or ADUG funded part of Etihad sponsorship obligations directly. In the absence of a link being proven between HHSM and ADUG and Etihad, as indicated in the figure below, the majority of the panel finds that UEFA's theory on disguised equity funding remains unsustained. Based on the evidence in front of it, the majority of the panel is not comfortably satisfied that the sponsorship contributions paid by Etihad to the MCFC were procured to be funded by HHSM or ADUG through unidentified third parties. The theoretical possibility that this may never have happened can certainly not be excluded, but you can never exclude anyone doing that without evidence. You're going to be going on forever with with every business around the world. You never know what's happened. To establish the panel's comfortable satisfaction that HHSM or ADUG indeed routed funds to Etihad through third parties, and the panel finds that UEFA did not satisfy this burden. Consequently, the majority of the panel is not comfortably satisfied that Manchester City Football Club disguised equity funding from HHSM and or ADUG as sponsorship through income through Etihad. That, ladies and gentlemen, is on page 78 and 79 of the CAS case. So when people tell me that there is no 93-page document, there is no time barred. Sorry, it was all time barred. Were parts of it time barred? Yes. It's in the CAS case, got to be honest. But that was back to 2009-10, I believe. Up to 11-12. There was no FFP then. Financial fair play regulations came in 2011, 2012 within the Premier League. So again, facts. Am I saying Manchester City are whiter than white, cleaner than day, or any football club is? I think football is a mess top to bottom. Just my personal opinion. But what all I'm doing here in this 37-minute video is quite simply telling you that this guff, that everything City did was time barred, and they never proved, and it was all third party related, and his brother proved it. It was proven at CAS, Court of Arbitration of Sport. I've read it out. I've shown you witness statements. I've shown you the actual CAS conclusion documentation. Don't tell me it doesn't exist. Don't tell me 93 pages ain't there for everyone to look at. You're just too damn lazy to go and look at it. But anyway, I'm not going to bore you anymore. This will go out. I hope you all have a lovely Wednesday evening. Have a great evening. Any questions? I have been in the live comments, reading along with you. I apologize for any of the misquoted words or not said correctly words. I'm not great at this sort of thing, reading big, long, posh words. You know, what am I doing in teaching? But no, the simple fact is, all jokes aside, that's all I wanted to give was facts. Can all give opinion. I'm not disputing anything about the time barred previous in the earlier years. I'm talking about from 2012 onwards. No, it was proven at CAS. Don't go on shows and tell everyone that it was third-party thing when CAS proved it wasn't. Please, don't do it for clicks and likes. Be honest, be truthful. But anyway, give it a big thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. If you've not, you'll probably give it a thumbs down and tell me I'm full of BS. I know everyone will. But have a great evening. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. But before I go, by the way, massive thank you to everyone who smashed us over that 4K barrier. You are all legends. It truly is your channel. We'll be back Thursday night chat. We're going to have a transfer special. Well, see what we can talk about because it's a bit quiet at the minute. But we'll have a chat about transfers on Thursday. And does Pep Guardiola go? Or do we need to get contingency plans in place? We'll discuss it all Thursday night chat, around about 9:30 p.m. We'll see you all then. But yeah, you're all legends. 4K done. On to 5K. Let's go.